So I've had my share of bumps in life and difficult relationships with other people. I've had my share of passion and excitement and love, and particularly when I'm in a passionate relationship, I've often had my feelings hurt and become righteously indignant with what she's done to me, or just the daily bumps and grinds of life. Someone else will have ripped into me, hurt my feelings, and I'll get indignant and I'll frame things about how I'm in the right and the other person's in the wrong, and I'm the victim here, and it's really unjust what they did to me, and I'll replay what they did to me, making it bigger and bigger, and making my role smaller and smaller, and making their role bigger and bigger and more heinous. I just keep building up the resentment. Every time I replay the incident in my mind, the resentment just gets bigger and bigger, and I get more and more righteously aggrieved. And that didn't really work out too well for me, going through life with so much resentment. So I've adopted this new practice I learned through the 12-step program of every day writing out at least 5 forgivenesses, like 5 people that I forgive. Could be from childhood if it's on my mind. Could be from 5 years ago if it's still on my mind. And just a really good way to start the day. Just starting off writing a list of people and places that I forgive. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about forgiveness, that it means exoneration, that it means just letting people off the hook. Well, I guess that's what it means, just letting go. You're not saying that what they did was right. It's just you're letting go. And it doesn't mean that you won't take precautions to minimize that sort of thing happening to you again. If someone borrows money from you and doesn't pay you back, you don't have to lend them more money. Okay? If you lend your car to someone and they damage it and don't pay for the repairs, you don't have to lend them the car again. If you lend someone a book and they don't return it, you don't have to lend them the book again. But forgiveness simply means you stop replaying the awfulness of what they did in your head over and over again. You just let it go. And I noticed that when I was in my relationships and I'd become really aggrieved by something that the girl did, she rescheduled an appointment we made so she could do something else. When I thought about it rationally, I realized that I'd done the same thing many times. Or I would have done the same thing if I'd had the opportunity that she had. Or I would have done the same thing if I was in the position that she was in. And, or at the very least, that I'd certainly thought about doing that thing. And when I think about things rationally, I saw that in no way was I morally superior to this person who was creating so much anger and resentment inside of me. So one of the ways that I've found helpful to learning to forgive other people is to just remember the horrible things, the embarrassing things that I've done with other people. And just imagine if they were broadcast on the front page of the New York Times. How would I feel then? And when I have an accurate understanding of myself, when I remember some of the shameful things that I've done, then find it a ton easier to let go of my righteous indignation at other people. So yeah, I like to write down 5 people I forgive every day. It's just like flushing the toilet. It's just like carrying out the trash. It's just like letting go of possessions that no longer serve you. It's like washing your car. It's like vacuuming and dusting. You're just getting rid of cobwebs and dirt and grime. It doesn't serve you anymore. What the heck? Okay, I'm going to forgive that driver for their horrible driving. I don't like it when people get into my lane. Then another thing that I find really helpful to journal about every day is just write down some things that I'm grateful for, so that I can think about the good things in my life. It's not enough just to think about the good things in your life. You have to write them down. It makes them more concrete and more real. Write down the people I forgive. You just kind of feel the resentment just releasing. And then I like to write about things that I've done well, because I have a tendency to really beat up on myself. You stupid idiot, you worthless jerk. I have this really negative self-talk, and for years, I think circa 2007 to 2009, the most frequent thing that I said to myself was, I'm effed, I'm so effed. And so I find it helpful to replace beating myself up with building myself up. And I can do that by writing down things I've done right, things I've done well. It's like, oh yeah, I got things that I can feel good about in my choices. I got things that I can feel grateful for. And this puts me in a much better frame of mind. Concentrate on my gratitudes. I concentrate on forgiving other people. I concentrate on the things that I'm doing well. And then I'll start journaling about other things that something may be troubling me, or my goals. Write out my goals for the week ahead, benchmarks for progress. How will I reward myself? I notice as I get older, my brain really fights change. Really doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to grow. It just wants to stay in routine. And so one way that I overcome that is through my 12-step programs. I get on 12-step phone meeting and I listen to people growing. I hear the transformation, particularly when you've been in the same meeting for years. The changes are frequently dramatic. People get clarity. And with clarity comes energy. Vagueness produces lassitude. Clarity produces energy and passion and drive, and everything just works more smoothly and efficiently in your life. With clarity comes a stronger sense of boundaries. You're less liable to be distracted from your path, from your vision, from your goals. You put first things first. You don't allow the urgent to crowd out the important. So one of the tools for clarity that I really enjoy is just journaling, writing everything out. Writing out everything that I'm thinking about, worrying about, hoping for, concerned about. Just put it down on paper. Morning pages. Just freely write out everything in my head. Another thing that makes me feel great is doing a possession consciousness, like throwing out items that I no longer use or need, or donate them, but get them out of my place, get them out of my car, get them out of my room, get them out of storage. I find the more stuff I've got that I'm not using, it just is a burden. It just weighs me down. By contrast, when I do possession consciousness and I let stuff go, I just feel lighter, I feel freer, I feel clarity, I feel good. So, also cleaning my car, cleaning my room, I find that always helps my mood. I cleaned my car windows this morning because I was anxious about something, and just like doing a good clean makes me feel better. Organizing stuff, throwing stuff away, possession consciousness really just makes me feel stronger and happier and lighter. And when I stuff things in the closet and I don't want to look at them, don't want to clean them up, that just feels like a burden to me. It's like I'm stuffing things, shoving things aside in my brain. Like there's this dirty, junk-filled closet in the back of my room. When that's true, then it feels like a dirty, junk-filled part of my brain. So I feel like my room, my car, they're reflections of my brain, and they also shape the way my brain works. And by contrast, when I've got things clean and organized and neat, and I've let go of unnecessary possessions, then in my brain I feel clear and neat. I feel like I have clarity. Clarity leads to drive and to passion. So another thing I can just do, pick up a journal and just write out my feelings. Like, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling anxiety, joy, apprehension, fear, frustration, anger, rage, resentment? Just get really clear about what I'm feeling. Because as a male, I don't tend to pay much attention to what I'm feeling. And it's good just to get that clarity, to provoke myself to that level of honesty. And the act of writing, I start to get underneath my immediate thoughts and start to go deeper. I start to see connections. And again, there's more clarity. I'm not living in vagueness. Vagueness is a way of checking out from reality. It's a type of drug. It's a way of avoiding what needs to be done. I remember how traumatic it was for me moving a few years ago, because the act of moving and my finances were very tight, and just realizing what I could afford was a cold shower of reality. And having to gather up all my stuff and throw things away and try to see if I had any help, if I could get help for moving. It made me feel how vulnerable I was, and it made me reflect on my limitations and my lack of resources. And this all happened when I was about 44 years of age. So I found it really hard. It shook me up, because when I don't have to move, then I can lead a busy life, and I don't have to face where I'm at in life. But when I have to move, then I have to face up to my situation in life. And that's like taking a cold shower. You lose a lot of delusions. You can't lose yourself in fantasy and vagueness. A cold shower is real. It wakes you up to reality. And so too does moving. And it also forces you to talk to other people, and even possibly connect and bond with them. and then you become vulnerable. So if you're in a stage of hiding and biting, the need to move will usually push you out of hiding and biting into connecting and giving and receiving and joining the wider community. And change, like the brain just really resists change. 52 now, and I'm just so settled in my ways. But it can lead me to change or help me change is human connection, my friends. If my friends are doing something, they're excited about something, then I'm much more likely to try it out. Or if I know I need to do something and I'm anxious or afraid or don't know how to do it, then I can check in with my friends, I can get help, guidance, support. So there are a lot of things in life that I'm not very good at, but that I have friends who are good at it. So when I turn to them, I can benefit from their expertise, and I can expand my world, because my friends know other people. They know all sorts of things that I don't know. So when I simply talk to my friends, I'm expanding my life. Or I'm talk to other people. I have like genuine human connection. I notice that my life will start to expand. And that doesn't necessarily come easy to me. Like a large part of me just wants to sit at home and read books all day and stream, just like have these virtual conversations. That's why it's important for me to belong to my Orthodox Jewish community, try to get to shul every day for Torah classes and for prayer, and to volunteer in the community, to visit the sick, to just be of service to others, and have these connections. I've lived in Los Angeles since 1994, and I know a lot of people here since 1994. We've been going to shul together since 1994. They have children now, and their children have children. And seeing all these generations of Jews in synagogue, it makes my heart happy. I feel connected to something greater than myself. And when you live in a tight-knit community, it's easy to accumulate resentments and anger and frustration with other people. And that's why I find it so important to write out a forgiveness list, to just keep letting go of all the bumps and bruises that inevitably accumulate when you have other people in your life. They let you down, and the more important they are to you, the more it will hurt when they let you down. And if you deny other people the opportunity to hurt you, then you can't even have them in your life. Like, to have people in your life is to be hurt. But if you dwell on those hurts and you take revenge for those hurts, and you sabotage those relationships. So living in community, some people are cut out for it and other people just don't like it. It's normal for me. Like, I grew up a Seventh-day Adventist. That's a Protestant. It's an outgrowth of the Methodist religion. I grew up in Currumbong, Australia. It's about 2 hours drive north of Sydney. Avondale College is a Seventh-day Adventist college. And my father was the chair of the religion department. And so I grew up with a very strong sense of identity. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I was an evangelical Christian. I was Dr. Desmond Ford's son. And I got to know a lot of people because my father was a big man on campus. And it also had downsides. People would tell on me if I said a swear word, which is a big sin in the Seventh-day Adventist world. The information would be given to my teachers, and then would get to my father, who would reprimand me. So living in community has its challenges, but it just has so much more intensity, and there's just so much more connection. So I infinitely prefer living in community, and I don't understand all these people that I know who don't like community. Just they don't like the restrictions on their personal freedom, because freedom, community, they're opposites. So the more freedom you have, less community. The more community, the less freedom. So these are trade-offs. But pretty much always wanted to live my life within community, though there are levels of communal belonging that I have resisted because I want to retain my freedom. I really like the way that Judaism handles the conflict between individual freedom and the good of the community. So in Judaism, it makes a big distinction between acts that are done privately and acts that are done publicly. So if you publicly flout Jewish law as an Orthodox Jew, you're publicly saying to the community that you don't want to belong to it. But if you go outside the community and say eat in a non-kosher restaurant, nobody knows. So it's a completely private act. It's not nearly as disruptive as if in the middle of an Orthodox Jewish community you were to go to a non-kosher restaurant. And people would likely see you, and they would see you as just defying the Jewish tradition. I know this Orthodox Jewish woman, she went and had lunch with her brother, and word got out that she was having lunch with another man. People didn't know it was her brother, so people were all concerned. So you have to put up with that kind of level of intrusion into your life. That's part of community, but a lot of great things too. That we gather to help each other when someone's sick, when someone's financially struggling. We help each other out, and we work together. We pray together, we eat together, we dance together. And over the course of years, you can develop like sacred ties, sacred bonds with people. You can develop your own Rebbe, someone who gives you spiritual guidance, gives you material guidance, someone that you can turn to as you try to find your way through life. Bye-bye.